Welcome back to the Grand Slam channel. Super Bowl Sunday is nearly here. Chiefs versus Eagles. Are the Eagles going to get their second championship, or is the Chiefs going to make history? Should be a great game. Money line, I will be taking the Chiefs, but the Eagles are way better equipped this time around. Going into the rematch against the Chiefs, obviously Saquon Barkley is a big factor. Should come down to the wire. It's going to be decided in the fourth quarter, late in the game. But hopefully it's a good Super Bowl. I do have a couple props. I'm going to be running different variations. I'll be posting those on my cord. But I will share my top 4 in this video. Don't forget about this Patrick Mahomes free square. Make sure you guys pair it up with your favorite prop. I suggest you do it with your favorite Gobby. Take your 2x or 2.5x and move on. But let's get started. First one I'm going to be going with, obviously I'm going to take the GOAT, Patrick Mahomes, or should I say second to the GOAT, Patrick Mahomes. Anything's in play for him. Usually he does best when the lights are brightest. Passing yards, rushing yards. His rushing attempts has been bumped significantly. It was at 4.5 just a week ago. It's all the way up to 6. DG Fantasy has it going under now. It was favored to go over on his rushing attempts, which was at 4.5. It's all the way to 6. But my favorite prop for him, overall, I'm just going to be taking his fantasy score. As you can see, there's tons of props. Hopefully you guys don't get overwhelmed. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to go straight to his fantasy score at 20.5. I have him projected to get close to 300 yards, get a couple touchdown passes, get about 30 to 50 yards on the ground. His pass completion is a top one on DG Fantasy at 24. Obviously, you guys have that push equity. But as you can see, his past couple of playoff matchups, he hasn't gone over, but usually he turns it up in the Super Bowl. He has a good track record. He does well in the Super Bowl, especially in the fourth quarter. But overall, I'm going to be taking his fantasy score of 20.5. I'll be taking the over. Second best option will probably be his passing yards at 252.5. Make sure you guys take that free square. Next one, take his counterpart, Jalen Hurts. Passing yards, this is my favorite prop for him. 213.5, this is too low for him. I know he has Saquon Barkley to rely on. But last time against the Chiefs, he passed over 300 yards, had a couple of touchdown passes. He did fairly well. Like I mentioned, the Eagles are way better equipped this time around. They got the receivers, they got the running back, and obviously Jalen Hurts got the experience now. 213, too low for him, given his second Super Bowl now. So at 213.5, I will be taking the over on his passing yards. It's going to get bumped to 215, possibly to 218 closer to game time. But at 213.5, definitely taking the over. Another prop that I do like that has a high hit rate will be his rush and receiving touchdown. Obviously, he's known for the touch push. But his receiving rushing touchdown is a good one. It should be a 0.5 Gobby once we find it. Let's see where he's at. 0.5. Unless they took it off the board. And they actually did take it off the board. They do have his D-man at 1.5. Actually, there it is. 0.5 rushing receiving touchdown. It's a regular prop, so it's a solid one. I'm going to be taking his passing yards. That's my favorite prop for him. Next one is Travis Kelce, making his 4th Super Bowl appearance. Every Super Bowl, he's had 6 receptions or more, and that's what I'm going to go with. As you can see, his receiving yards and his touchdown is the most popular play. Over 160,000 people are on these two props. I'm going to go to his receptions. You can see 70,000 people are on it, so they are looking at his history. He's always exceeded over 6 receptions in all 4 Super Bowl appearances. Obviously, that's Patrick Mahomes, one of his favorite receivers. I'm going to be taking him. Travis Kelce in the big stage. 6 receptions. I think he's going to eclipse that. So I'll be taking that. You can obviously target his fantasy score as well, or his receiving yards. His receiving yards is juiced over on DG Fantasy with the 52.8% hit rate to go over. So you can see why 160,000 people are on it. I'm going to be taking his receptions. Next one is none other than Saquon Barkley. But for him, I'm going to play it safe. Play and take his rushing yards Gobby. I'm going to be taking his 99.5. In over 20 games this season, he's only missed this mark 5 times. He hasn't missed in the playoffs. He's gone well over 100 yards. So at 99.5, I'm going to be taking the higher payout Gabi. Obviously, they have different lines for him. They got demons up to 124.5 all the way to 149.5. But I'm going to be taking his rushing yards. I do have him breaking 100. It's going to be between 100. It's going to be somewhere between 100 and 125 yards. Obviously, he had that 60-yarder against the Rams, but he didn't do too much. He had 118. Actually, against the Commanders, where he had that 60-yard touch. So you got that 60-yard on one run. So Washington was able to contain him just a tad bit. So I think the Chiefs, obviously, they have a better defense than the Commanders. So I think Saquon Barkley is going to end up somewhere between 100 and 125 yards. I do have him scoring the touchdown, so you could take his Gabi at 0.5. I'm just going to be taking his rushing yards. He's still going to have a good game. Might be the X Factor, might be the MVP, who knows. But I still see him having a solid game. His regular line at 112.5 is not bad. Obviously, we're gambling here, so if you want to take it over, obviously you can see it past 5. Obviously, it's going to be a popular play. He's been red hot. Obviously, he just got named Offensive Player of the Year. So Saquon Barkley, you got to have him in the slip. Either his rushing receiving touchdown, Gabi, his rushing yards. His fantasy score, I'm going to stay away from. It's on DG Fantasy, the highest prop to go under with a 56% hit rate. So his fantasy score is under, and it's at 20.5 last time I checked. It's actually at 20 now, so it did get bumped. It was at 20.5, so it did get bumped to 20. They do think the Chiefs are going to contain him somehow. I don't think he's going to go well off. I still think he's going to get close to 100 and 120 yards. But his fantasy score is definitely juiced under. And those are my top 4 props. Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Travis Kelce, Saquon Barkley. Keep it simple. So you can see there's so many props you can choose from, so many options. Obviously, if you're targeting some receivers, my favorite receivers is going to be Dallas. Obviously, he's not a receiver. He's a tight end, but he's one of the favorite receivers. Obviously, targets for Jalen Hurts. Receiving yards and receptions are my top 2 picks for Dallas. So you can see he's still at 4.5. Next one's A.J. Brown. Receiving yards at 71.5 is solid. I'll probably be taking one of his Gabis. Most likely at 59.5. Another one that's trending right now on DG Fantasy for the Chiefs is Hollywood Brown. And that is his receptions at 3.5. Right now I have it at 55% hit rate to go over. So this prop will probably get bumped to 4. It's a good prop. One of his receivers, if you want to take a Chiefs receiver. I still think Kelsey's going to get most of the targets. Obviously, they got Hollywood Brown. I mean, they got plenty of weapons as well, the Chiefs. Kareem Hunt could be a factor as well. As you can see, his rushing receiving touchdowns is a popular play. Can't forget about Xavier Worthy. He's been very valuable in this playoff run as well. He had 101 yards against Buffalo. He's had some decent games. So you might want to take Xavier Worthy on one of your slips if you're doing multiple slips. Not sure how much Pacheco is going to be in use. It's going to be between him and Hunt, but I think it's going to be mostly air game for the Chiefs, and it's going to rely mostly on Mahomes. But these are the 4 props I like, so you guys can mix and match, pick your favorite. Most likely I'll be running a live on TikTok for last minute details and other props to put slips on. But other than that, I am doing this video the night prior, early morning Sunday. So a lot of these props will be moving. So hopefully you guys get these in. So good luck, mix and match, enjoy your Sunday. Hopefully we get treated with a great Super Bowl. Other than that, please like, subscribe, and comment. Appreciate your support. If you want all my slips, I do have a Discord. The link is in the description below. All my slips are posted daily across all platforms. Other than that, have a great day and see you guys in the next one.